Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We are in the season where new players are storming in every single day, into Rainbow Six Siege that is, and I think Shadow Legacy is going to bring in a lot of new players, and of course Christmas time always brings in new players. So to all the newer players and to all players, I just want to know the easiest operators in general. Here's a list of 5 and then a few honorable mentions. So this is going to be in the same format as my normal top 5s. However, this one's going to be based more towards beginner players. As we get more towards Christmas time and all the new players coming in around that time, I'm going to have more beginner tip videos out. I'm not going to try to storm it too much because I know not everyone that watches the channel is a beginner, but I know a good amount of people here have definitely been playing the game for less than a year. So the way I made this list, I first looked at the gadget, just made sure it was a simple gadget. It has to be somewhat simple and it's pretty self-explanatory. You pick it up and you're going to be able to use it. And then of course I always looked at the weapon and then the speed rating / armor rating of the operator. And something I also did include is I really focused on the cheaper operators because as a newer player, you're not going to want to be spending 25,000 renown on an operator. You're going to want to start off with the cheaper operators, work your way up. Most of these operators on this list are actually very cheap. They're year 1 operators or year 0 operators, I guess. So on defense, I really focused on anchors. So the first anchor I got for you guys is Rook, and this is more relating to Shadow Legacy and beyond because Rook versus Doc has always been a big topic, but Rook is the one that is going to be able to keep the 2x sight while Doc is going to a 1.5x as of right now. That could change of course, but Rook with the 2x, there's a big advantage there. And as for the gadget, it is very simple. You just put down your pack of armor and then you give your whole team a 20% armor boost without having to do really a thing. His gadget is passive, so once you set your armor down, you are done with actually having to do anything with gadget wise, and you can focus on reinforcing the site and finding a place to anchor down. You also have impact grenades, which can be helpful for creating rotation holes once you learn how to do that. Now honestly, the only downside with Rook is as you get higher in ranks, there's a lot more headshots, but if you're on console specifically or just a lower rank in PC, headshots aren't as big of a deal, so that 20% is actually quite substantial. So now moving on to attacker operator, this is an operator that you need to get good with fast because you can always use this rank or always use this operator in every single rank. Literally from copper all the way to champ, you're going to see this operator played, and that is going to be Thermite with his very powerful 5.56. The main thing about Thermite is he's very beginner friendly because usually most of the time Thermite is going with the team as in a Thatcher or some sort of support operator. He's attacking a wall and applying direct pressure to the site, which requires no map knowledge. All you have to do is go towards the A and the B, find the wall that your Thatcher is attacking, and just follow up and be able to use your hard breach device to get the wall open. As for his competitors, Hibana, Ace, and potentially the hard breach gadget, the new hard breach gadget, he creates a bigger breach than any of them first of all, and he's definitely easier to use for beginners. Now personally, I like Ace the most if I were to pick one, but that's just me because I like the AK-12 and I like the fragging potential. But as for a beginner player, right when you log in, Thermite's going to be easier to use, less recoil, a high damage gun at 47 damage, 690 fire rate, and just like basically all of these operators, they are the cheapest operators since they were the original operators in the game. So the price has been significantly reduced ever since the launch of it. I think they're now like 1,000 renown or something, which is super cheap. That only takes a few games to get. In just a few hours, you can have Thermite and basically all of these operators with just a day of play. Or if you just bought the Rainbow Six edition that comes with all those operators, then you're set to go with these operators. Now I want to shoot back over to the defensive side and we're going to talk about Mute. And I genuinely think that Mute is going to be the best operator or one of the best operators to pick come this next season. I'm honestly going to make a whole video about him later this weekend, maybe a short little video on him because he is absolutely insane now. So the first thing is the new Ping 2.0 system. You want drones nowhere near the site. You don't want them to be able to come in because the ability for the other team to now ping yellow wherever you are is super important, and having a Mute is absolutely essential. Now why this is good for beginners, for the most part you're just putting them at doorways into the site. Very simple to do. It can of course be more complicated if you try to do the hard breach denial, but if I were a beginner I would just set those things on the doors and call it a day. Now some people might be saying but the shotgun SMG-11 is pretty tough, and yes that's true, but now you actually have a viable option in the MP5K with a 1.5 times. So as you progress in the game with Mute, he could take you all the way to the upper ranks. If there is a operator to main, it is Mute. Definitely consider it, and definitely anchor whenever you are Mute, by the way. Stay around site at least. You don't have to sit directly in site, but stay around site. Don't be a roamer with Mute. I know it's tempting with the 1.5 times now. However, if you are trying to do a spawn peek, just do that spawn peek real quick and revert back to site. And if you're up for the challenge, try out the shotgun and SMG-11 combo. Once you're good with that, then smoke is the next upgrade up from Mute. Now I shouldn't say upgrade, but I should say you should also learn that just because smoke is such a useful operator. They're completely different, but if you can get good with that SMG-11, you're going to be good with 3 operators. You're going to be good with Mute, Smoke, and Sledge. They all have that same weapon. So speaking of Sledge, we're going to bring him into the list as well. He is one of the easier operators to get because his gadget is so simple, and he also has a strong weapon, kind of like Thermite, sort of. From an apples to apples weapon comparison, I mean, the L85A2 is a 47 damage, 670 fire rate, so they're very, very close that way. And both of them, from a recoil perspective, are both very easy to use, very stable weapons, but their gadgets are completely opposite. They do complete opposite things. They both do breaching, but Thermite is a hard breacher, and of course Sledge is a soft breacher. But the upsides with Sledge is he's able to destroy anything. It'll introduce you into vertical play, so learning how to play above. It'll also just be easier to destroy barricades and stuff like that. The sledgehammer is not limited to just soft breaching, though. It can also get castle barricades, maestro cams, the new Banshee. The only thing is you have to be close, so there's no real point in getting a Banshee because you can just knife it instead. But generally, it's an easy operator to get. Just don't get caught trying to swing your hammer at everything. And this operator only gets better for you as your map knowledge grows. As you get better at the maps, as you learn better vertical play, you're going to get better at Sledge, being able to open up better spots from above. And to top everything off, I don't think I mentioned this in the loadout, but he has frag grenades. And now the 5th operator we are talking about is the counter to frag grenades, the ADS system for Jaeger. So if you haven't gotten the trend yet for all these operators on defense, for beginners, I'm really focusing on gadgets where you just have to place it down, and for the rest of the round, it's a passive round. So that shows with Rook, all you have to do is put down your armor pack, Mute, same thing, you just put down all of your Mute jammers. And then ADS is you got 3 of these bad boys, you just put them at windows and doors, common places where you're going to see nades from, and then you are good to go. And you could be a roamer or a anchor or a shallow roamer. You could pick any playstyle with Jaeger. And then you have the 416C, which is a superb weapon on defense. Only thing with the gadget is you want to place it places where there's not good crossfire things, so you're not going to want to put it somewhere where a window has sight to your ADS. And generally, some things that might help with that is by placing the ADSs on the floor or on the ground. That is something that I don't see a lot of players do. However, there is a big advantage to it. It's in a different spot. It's not just sitting at head height, and sometimes people literally just pass up your ADS. So those are my core 5 operators, but as for some DLC operators, I'm going to give you guys a few of them. I'm not going to go into depth with any of them. While I hate to include this one, Blackbeard is actually pretty good for beginners. You don't need any reaction time when you have Blackbeard because you have a shield over your face. You're definitely going to get some hate when using Blackbeard because he's one of the most hated operators in the game because he does have that shield over his face, but he's in the game, so you might as well use him if you need him. And then the last attacker I have for you is Zofia. Very simple device, the soft breach launcher, kind of like Ash if you ever played Ash, but you also get 2 concussions coming alongside of your launcher, and then a very, very strong assault rifle on Zofia as well. Now, as for some DLC defenders, Maestro is the one that I'm going to include a lot. The weapon's very easy to use. You have 80 plus bullets to work with. The only thing with this one is you kind of need just a general idea of how the game works to be able to place your Maestro Evil Eye cams in the perfect spots. You want these to be in spots where you actually get some intel from them and be able to zap people if need be. But last but not least, I am going to include Melusi. And I only say this is a good beginner operator because the gadget, once again, is a passive gadget. However, I would not, if I'm a brand new player, I would not spend 25,000 on her. I would much rather spend it on any of the operators we talked about before. And this operator or Legion, they both have the T5 SMG. You got to get introduced to that weapon. It is a very, very strong weapon, very high fire rate. And at the end of the day, guys, this list is just a generalization of good operators for beginners, but some operators might work really well for you that I did not mention. Go ahead and play them. Just try to play operators that are useful, basically meaning provide any value to your team while also being able to get kills. So that's gonna be my list. Add some more operators if you have them in the comments, and let me know if you have any more beginner type videos you guys want to see. I get a lot of requests for beginner videos, and I understand that about 50% of the community has been playing this game for under 1 or 2 years, so they're more newer or on the newer side. So I could just do some general tip videos if you guys want to see from beginner sided. Probably will do those closer to next month or so. And then of course I'm going to keep doing the map breakdowns. I really enjoyed making that. It took forever, but I did enjoy making them, and then all the normal content. So that's going to do it for this one. I will see you guys in the next video. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace out.